let's go through all of them again. So this is the hip bump sweep series. Go ahead and scoot back a little bit. So this is the hip bump sweep series for the gray belts, okay? And it's going to go pretty fast. All right, so he's going to post for all of them, or in the right sequence. So as I come up here, and let's say he goes to defend this maybe. All right. That was a little bit quick just to show you guys how fast it should take. So your hip bump sweep series should involve that, all those submissions. Then you move on to the dummy sweep. Then you move on to the guard pass. Then you move on to whatever takedown and submission we're doing that day. Now, here's the very important thing about the warm-ups that you need to know. This person needs to be a good partner, as well as you need to be going for the sweep every time, okay? Don't do it lazy, all right? So if I were to go right here, if I were to go for the hip bump sweep and like, go ahead and post. Okay, here we go. No, that's not good. You need to go for the hip bump sweep like you're trying to get the hip bump sweep. Okay, you need to force this person to post out of desperation. So as I go right here, I'm trying to finish the hip bump sweep. You see how hard they post? And then I snag that and I finish the sweep. Or he posts really hard and then I snag that. Why are you lifting your heart? I don't know. All right, we'll do that again. So I need to go for this hip bump sweep as if I am desperate to finish the hip bump sweep. Like up in here, like I'm pushing and making them post. And now I could either grab to finish this, or I can grab the Kimura, or so on and so forth. You're forcing the reaction, okay? You're not, let's go back this way. You're not being lazy about it. And this person's not just gonna post just to post. This person, make sure that you are forcing the person doing the move, okay, me, to create the post correctly. Okay, so as I go up here, if I'm doing it all lazy and incorrectly, like, yeah, don't just give me what I want. Make that post happen. Okay, and then when that happens, I either finish or I move on. So you need to do a good job forcing the position that you need, because in a competition or in a real life role, this person's not just going to give it to you. Okay, if this person knows what they're doing, all right, as I go for my hip bump sweep, they're going to give me a response that is going to be as aggressive as I'm doing the move. So I need to come up in here and I'm trying to finish. Okay, okay, it's going to be a struggle. And so this person as well as yourself need to recreate that scenario appropriately so you're getting the proper muscle memory, like drilled in and programmed into your daily warm-up. Okay, so that way when you do run into these situations, your body isn't lost, or it doesn't just do one thing and done. One of the biggest struggles that we see is people just going for one move and then being done. Like they go for a hip bump sweep. They go for a hip bump sweep and like, okay, on to the next thing. No, we are always chaining moves together. We're always flowing. We are flow state Jiu Jitsu. I go for the hip bump sweep. All right, they post, I go for the Kimura. They're not allowing me to get it. So then I move this around for the back take. And it's always one move after the next. So this is a great way to drill that when you go for that hip bump sweep, no matter what they do, you have a great option that's next, whether it be a transition or a submission. Okay? And so let's go through the series right now from this angle. Okay? So, you good? Mm-hmm. All right, good. So I'm going to come up in here. Boom. Get my S mount, hook the arm, push on the face, drag my leg in front of the face, arm bar. Lock this in. He's posted too far back, leg out. I go for it. He tackles me back in. Get my guillotine. Boom. 100% sweep. And then my submissions from here. And when you get to mount as a gray belt, I want you to practice your favorite submissions. But remember, I always want Kimura attempts, or sorry, rather, I always want Americana attempts first and no gi. And the gi we want, of course, chokes, but we skip that for Americanas, gift wraps, S-mount armbar, okay? So, gray belt warm-up. Hip bump sweep, they post. You counter it by just grabbing their wrist and pulling. Or you counter it by going to the Kimura. They post too far away, you bring the leg out for the triangle because you know exactly where their hand is going to be. They post heavy, so pulling your leg out for that triangle should be easy. And it's got to be a well-timed move. You can't go for this. Can you drop your butt a little bit for me? Thank you. So you can't go for this, and as he posts too far away right here, and then fall back, and then try to get this out. It's just not going to work. It's got to happen simultaneously. So as I go here, I post far away. I got to be getting that leg around before I drop, making that fluid, okay? One more time from the other angle. So I can't be lazy about this. I can't go up here, make him post, and then try to get my leg out. Not going to work. I need to do this while his hand is posted and posted heavy, okay? So as I come in here, boom. Notice how I grab the back of his head to pull him back in. If I don't pull him back in, right here as I go for this, I don't pull him back in, now I don't have the angle. He's leaning back, okay? So I like to, as I'm here, I pull his head back in, boom, pull his head back in, right into my triangle as I pull my leg out of that space because his arm's posted. And then I go for the guillotine. Well, if they know better, or sorry. Then I go for the hip bump sweep and they know better, so they tackle me back in, leaving their neck exposed. So I wrap around, I create this platform, right? This big scoop, I tell the kids, on the arteries, grab the blade of my hand, and I sink that in, compressing him together. It's like I'm trying to create a kink in the hose by folding him in half. I'm not trying to squeeze his neck up tight, which I want to create some tension, but the finish isn't coming from the mechanics of squeezing his head up. The mechanics are coming from my entire body working as a mechanism to squeeze his head underneath, trying to make his nose touch his belly button. All right, that's what we want. And then if you can't get that submission, you go for the 100% sweep. And they call it the 100% sweep because it works usually 100% of the time if you do it correctly. But, you know, there's a lot of nuance in saying that. However, they call it the 100% sweep. And it's a nice way to get to mount. So you should have all these different options happening for you. And we need to get comfortable having your body automatically respond to how somebody responds to your hip bump sweep. And connecting those moves, chaining them, and making it all flow together. So for gray belts and up, especially for the kids, this is very important to know, and you have to know this in order to get your 4th stripe for your white belt and get promoted into that gray belt, which is the hip bump sweep series where we're chaining everything together. And now we're going to go ahead and show you what we need to know for the gi version of that.